As England's players get ready to move out at Lord's for the other testing versus India, they will be ignorant of a length-running dispute roar off not far under their feet. It is a legend how stretches behind almost too many decades, and involves a controversy above a tight stripe of earth at the end of the historical facility in polar London named as this household of cricketer. The extent of earth, measurement 200 meter by 38 m, 656 foot by 125 foot, at the kennel end of the Lord's website, sits over abandoned Victorian rail tunnels. And how region has been at the cardiac of a struggle among the land's owners, Marylebone Cricketer Clubhouse, MCC, and the proprietor of the rent-on-house stripe of earth, characteristic software developer Charles Rifkind. Following creature disappointed by the MCC in his plans to evolve the website above the history too many decades, Mr. Rifkind has teamed up in characteristic syndicate New State, led by software developer businessman Johnny Sandelson, to see at marketing off some portion of the earth. We include had lot of concern, especially of the Hindu-Indian subcontinent, who see Lord's as a specific location in their hearts, says Mr. Sandelson. Addition, how down there include been 10,000 powerful expressions of concern. Mr. Sandelson is now work in finance regulators to get the all clear to sale bits off in about 9 months period. Shares in the earth will be sold out via tokens named Lord's coins, that will be sold via blockchain technique. But down there is a capture. Though the MCC does not own the tunnels, or any growth rights to the earth on upper, it does include a submarine lease on the top 18 inches of the earth, that rest before 2137. And how makes characteristic growth unfeasible for else 119 year at the one. It is apparently a length-term property. But human beings as grandchildren can include emergency growth opportunities order in the medium of St. John's timber, says Mr. Sandelson. We are democratizing actual estate property. The AMD began on November 9, 1999, while rail track, that at the period controllable the UK's rail infrastructure facilities, said the MCC how the major rent on the stripe of earth over the 1890s tunnels would be sold out at a social auction house a monthly after. It as well guessed the clubhouse to do a before auction propose for the major rent. But talks in the monthly guideline up to the last date were failed, and the earth and 999 year rent were purchased at auction house by Mr. Rifkind for £2,350,000, over which the MCC told it could provide. The clubhouse had fair finished 2 main equity house projects, the Great Stay and the Print Centre, that had exhausted its cash money reserves. No purchase the tunnels was a dazzlingly evident error, says author Matthew Engel, a ex-text editor of the Cricketing Bible Wisdom, and who has accompanied the history close. The is a story of vast difficulty. I don't aware if it will always be adequately solved. Mr. Rifkin's plans, to construct 94 flats on the area, were rebuffed recent year while MCC members elect for their own reconstruction schema, or Lord's Master Plan, for the land. The MCC schedule involves the reconstruction of the kennel end by removal interim pavilions now positioned above the rail tunnels, and driving the current kennel land cricketer tilt downward above the area. In the 1890s the Manchester, Sheffield and Lincolnshire Rail opted to construct the new large centre rail immediately under Lord's cricketer land in St. John's Timber. The cricketers were pledged a marked new tilt, and the photo over shows building job in advance. The tunnels were constructed among 1894 and 1898 by the cut-off and cover technique, quite rather than dull. In the image the wood centerings are in location and the building block courses are creature constructed up. The scope of the job can be convicted by the team of navvies collected in the lower order of the image. While completed, the region was coated above and the new cricketer tilt laid down. Down there was a really length, beating and strong discussion above a quantity of year that was signed while the affiliation extraordinarily elect for a Lord's reconstruction via our own asset, says MCC head execution guy Lavender Oil. Down there include been a quantity of various thoughts on which is necessary, but the master plan puts the clubhouse and cricketer at its cardiac. We include monitoring of our own fate, to evolve in our own path. Mr. Rifkin's growth suggestion came in the propose of a £100 email of letter of credit for the MCC. There has been an region of several debate, says Mr. Lavender Oil. Yet, we can provide to evolve the land at a step we can provide. We are not dependent on the £100 to evolve the land in the way we wish. We include got nice income general, and will go on to do so. We will now get on in our at first stage, redeveloping the Compton and Edric stands. Meantime, the MCC says it is sanguine on plans by other to cash money in on the kennel land earth. It doesn't affect on us, Mr. Lavender Oil says. In 119-year period, if how position hasn't modified, later how little stripe of earth will stop to be a portion of Lord's and we will include a less kennel land. We go on to encounter Mr. Rifkind to talk a band of issues. If we discover several overall land, we would believe manufacturing him and propose at a cost we could accept on. But how is not the instance at this? Matthew Engel says how in spite 20 year of steaming characteristic prices in the St. John's timber region, the MCC has not financially benefited of it. As a characteristic software developer, Mr. Rifkin saw a location at Lord's how was not creature advanced, and requested to do he says. He saw the hideous side at the end of Lord's, an untapped area, and mind how, to reciprocal benefit, he could do thing of it. But the prospect has been skipped by the MCC. And the cricketer author says he does not believe the schedule to sail off some portion of the earth will solve matters. I believe the time for trade-off or treaty has gone, he says. It will be a really length period up we include any finding to the question, if at all.